first of all, I'm going to look at this concept now, Gematria and the Moshiach. I'm going to very quickly go through this so you'll understand why, because we're going to use a ratio that the Baal Shem Tov gave us and a contrast regular Gematria to ordinal Gematria. So I wanted to first point out what each Gematria signifies. So these are the first five. These are the 5 books of Torah. Come to 2,880 regular, which is 5 times 496. The ordinal books of the Torah add up to 284. The moon, as we can see, is 496, and this is a revelation of Moshiach ben David. Okay, who sits on the throne of David. This is 136 Gematria for Kisei David. The ordinal and the regular of Kisei David, 95 plus 41. And we know via Vilna Gaon that Kisei David, the throne of David, is Moshiach ben Yosef. Add those two together, we get 632, which is 2 times Yeshu, the name given to Yeshua in exile. The derogatory erasing of his name given to us in exile. We will come back to this right at the end, because revealing the truth in the lie, the 601st year, when we go and analyse that part of the Torah, we'll see that it's very much linked to this concept also. The fact that Yod He Vav He willed for the Moshiach ben Yosef to have his name erased in order for him to come into exile with us and perfect our faith. I've got this statement, so we can see very clearly how this relates to Moshiach ben Yosef. Okay, also when you're describing Moshiach ben David, well, David in the Tanakh is described as red with beautiful eyes, and those words also add up to 496, so we know it's Moshiach ben David. We've got this verse. We're now going to look at how the ordinal relates to Moshiach ben Yosef, and also it's very much connected. All this is also connected to Moshe, as we will see. So we've got this verse here: who forms light and creates darkness, and who makes peace and creates evil. I am the Lord who makes all these things. Isaiah 45:7 comes to 2,840, and as we can see, that's 10 times the ordinal value for all the books of the Torah. And that equals 355 times 8. The ordinal of this entire verse is 455 ordinally, which is 5 times 91. And 91 are the two names added together, Yod He Vav He Adonai. Okay, so Yod He Vav He represents like the heavens. Adonai is a name that represents the earth. It's associated with Malkuth. Okay, the kingdom on earth. Right, so we add these two together, come to 3,295, which is 5 times 659. The son, which is Moshiach ben Yosef, comes to 355. So there we see the link between the ordinals and the concept of Moshiach ben Yosef. Okay, and we also, if we add them together, the average ordinal, average regular amount, which represents Moshiach ben David, plus the ordinal, which represents Moshiach ben Yosef, we get 780, which is Melech Israel, King of Israel, plus Melech Goyim, King of the Nations, comes to 780, which is 5 times 195. Okay, we'll come back to that number. 78 times 2 is 156, Yosef. 78 or 780. 780 is 20 times 39, which is the ordinal of Moshe. So we can see, whichever way we look, these numbers are giving some indication to us regarding the unified concept of Moshiach. The Moshiach ben David, represented by the regular Gematria, Moshiach ben Yosef, represented by the ordinal Gematria, and together bringing about a revelation of Moshe, which is the middle of the bird. We've also got here Moshe 77 plus Yeshua. This is the ordinal filling out. This is the ordinal of this filling out of Yeshua, the ordinal of this filling out of Moshe. Okay, where the Vav is filled with a He, comes to 195. So we see that connection also. King of the Nations, King of Israel, connected to revelation of a unity between Moshe and Yeshua. We come across this concept all the time. And finally, 689, the total, comes to this filling out of Yeshua, the regular, this is the highest level of filling out, where the Vav is filled with a Yod, comes to 532 plus 127, comes to 659. So the regular plus the ordinal comes to 3,295, which is 5 times 659. So we see that Yeshua filled is a fulfillment of this prophecy. It's the concept of Moshiach ben Yosef, also connected and linked totally to Moshe. I'll show you why. Because Moshe here, so we've got Yeshua plus Moshe, very much associated with this. We need to unify them together in order to reveal Moshiach ben David. And this whole process here of who forms light and creates darkness, who makes peace and creates evil, I am the Lord who makes all these things. This is our work of Tikkun, that the Moshiach ben Yosef in exile, suffering with us, with his name erased, is helping us accomplish. Once we've accomplished that, that becomes the throne upon which King David sits. Okay, so it is a unity between Moshe and Yeshua, because both were incarnations of the soul of Mashiach at different levels, and the soul of Mashiach will finally incarnate at the level of Mashiach ben David. Okay, so it's very interesting, the ordinal and the regular, and how then they unite together to bring that unity between the concept of the Mashiachim. It's all glorious. This is why I use the numbers together as well. I use the regular plus the ordinal and unite them together, and then I've got a total. So I've got the 3 numbers, and I do that for every word, the regular, the ordinal, the total, and that represents Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben Yosef and Moshe, and together those are a 3 ply cord that cannot easily be broken. Right, let's have a look at this.